They said rap and reality were two different worlds. But what if the court system is saying otherwise? What if one of hip-hop's biggest stars is standing trial for murder for hire? This isn't clickbait. It's the real federal case with filings, dates, and names. Before we get into the jaw-dropping timeline, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe, not just to support, but because the story you're about to hear might change how you see fame, loyalty, and power forever. Federal prosecutors in Los Angeles allege that Durk, legal name Durk Devontae Banks, conspired to hire hitmen to kill a rival in 2022. The case claims the plot came from deep inside an ongoing feud that's haunted Chicago's drill scene for years. According to court records, the target, 24-year-old Xavier Robinson, was gunned down in Los Angeles on August 19, 2022. Prosecutors say this wasn't random. It was payback, planned, and paid for. They call it a murder-for-hire conspiracy involving interstate communication and money transfers. If convicted of the main charge, using interstate facilities to commit murder-for-hire resulting in death, Durk could face life in federal prison. The feds say it started as retaliation linked to a violent chain of losses stretching back to 2020. But this time, they're not treating it like a street feud. They're treating it like organized crime. Let's rewind to how we got here. August 19th, 2022, a shooting rocks Los Angeles, killing Xavier Robinson. Investigators say the gunmen were flown in from Chicago. October 25th, 2024, federal agents move in. Lil Durk is taken into custody in Florida as he allegedly tries to travel internationally. Weeks later, November 8th, 2024, a federal grand jury drops a superseding indictment, accusing him of orchestrating the plot across state lines. By spring 2025, his legal team files a series of motions trying to get the case thrown out. The judge refuses bail, citing behavior inside the jail, including alleged misuse of phone privileges. That decision keeps Durk locked in until trial, which the court tentatively schedules for early 2026. Now let's break down what's actually written in the indictment. Prosecutors say Durk didn't pull the trigger, but that he coordinated the men who did. They allege that he used encrypted messages and intermediaries to arrange travel, funding, and weapons. The document lists flights from Chicago to LA, hotel check-ins, and financial transfers made within days of the shooting. Prosecutors say confidential witnesses recorded calls where members of Durk's team discussed the job. They also point to texts and GPS data they claim show the shooters traveling directly from the airport to the target's neighborhood. To believers in Durk's innocence, it's all coincidence and circumstantial. To prosecutors, it's a pattern too tight to ignore. In court filings, prosecutors lay out several key types of evidence they claim tie Lil Durk, real name Durk Devontae Banks, to the alleged murder-for-hire conspiracy. It starts with the phones. Investigators say they traced a series of encrypted messages and call records among Durk's known associates in the days surrounding the August 19, 2022 Los Angeles shooting. These communications allegedly show coordination, travel plans, and discussion of payments. According to the filings, the group booked last-minute flights from Chicago to Los Angeles and back that same night. Authorities claim those tickets were purchased using a credit card connected to Durk's circle, and that phone location data places several suspects at the same hotel near the site of the shooting. The government also points to money trails, hotel bookings, rental cars, and transfers they say originated from OEF-related accounts. Prosecutors argue that these details prove the trip wasn't spontaneous. It was planned, financed, and executed with purpose. They frame it as a coordinated interstate operation that turned deadly. Witness testimony adds another layer. Several cooperating witnesses reportedly told investigators they heard talk of a job targeting a rival, and that payment discussions followed soon after. Some of these witnesses are former insiders who allegedly wore recorders or provided screenshots of conversations. The defense has already challenged their credibility, noting some have plea deals or motives to lie. Then there's the forensic and surveillance evidence. The shooting happened at a gas station where two vehicles boxed in a third before gunfire erupted. Ballistics tied multiple rounds to the same weapon, later linked to another city through shell casing analysis. Investigators say the intended target was a rival affiliate of Quando Rondo, but the man killed was his friend, 24-year-old Xavier Robinson, known as Lil PB. That mistake, prosecutors claim, still qualifies under the murder-for-hire statute because money was exchanged for violence. In the charging documents, the murder-for-hire element hinges on one phrase: interstate commerce. Because the suspects allegedly traveled and used credit cards across state lines to commit the act, the case jumped from local jurisdiction to federal court. The feds insist Durk orchestrated parts of the plan, providing resources and approval. But Durk's attorneys fire back that their client neither ordered nor paid for a killing. They emphasize that he wasn't physically present, that the payments are unproven, and that much of the digital evidence is circumstantial. They point to the massive discovery: over 230 gigabytes of data and more than 20,000 pages of reports, and argue that sheer volume doesn't equal guilt. They're pushing motions to suppress evidence they say was seized unlawfully and claim investigators misinterpreted normal business expenses as criminal funding. The defense also raises the issue of celebrity bias, arguing that Durk's fame, lyrics, and reputation in drill music create a presumption of guilt in jurors' minds. In hearings, the judge has acknowledged the case's complexity, describing it as extraordinary in both scope and public interest. The bail decision reflected that gravity. Durk was denied pretrial release, with the court citing potential witness influence and risk of flight. Behind the legal jargon, this case captures a bigger question: how far can prosecutors stretch the definition of coordination and intent? The government wants to prove Durk's influence turned words into orders. The defense insists the evidence shows only association, not command. That's what the jury will one day decide when this trial finally begins. Beyond the legal filings, the cultural shockwaves are massive. This isn't just a criminal case. It's a collision of music, money, and morality. Lil Durk has built an empire off authenticity, pain, and perseverance. Now, every lyric and Instagram post is being re-examined under a courtroom microscope. Fans argue he's being targeted for his influence. Critics claim the streets he raps about finally caught up to him. The industry impact can't be overstated. Durk's success, chart-topping records, festival headlines, million-dollar deals, sits in limbo while the case drags on. Brand sponsors have quietly paused partnerships, and tour promoters are hesitant to book shows amid ongoing hearings. Inside record labels, this case is already shaping policy. Executives are reassessing how they vet artists tied to violent crews. If convicted, Durk's empire could crumble. If acquitted, he might emerge as a symbol of resilience against a system eager to criminalize his art. The legal process itself has become a marathon. The trial was originally scheduled for January 7, 2025, but after both sides admitted the case's complexity, the court granted a continuance under the Ends of Justice clause. That pushed the start date to October 14, 2025, and then again to January 20, 2026. Pre-trial hearings and motion deadlines are stacked months deep. The backlog stems from the enormous evidence: terabytes of footage, financial logs, forensic data, and intercepted messages. The defense continues to ask for more time to review, while prosecutors argue every delay risks fading witness memories. Inside the courtroom, Durk often sits silent, dressed sharply, eyes fixed on the judge. Supporters fill the gallery. Journalists crowd the back rows. Every hearing spawns a storm of online theories, some claiming plea deals are near, others saying new charges could surface. But the filings tell a clearer story. This is a methodical, high-stakes chess match between federal attorneys and one of hip-hop's biggest names. Observers expect the trial to last several weeks once it begins. Key rulings on admissibility of digital evidence, witness protection, and whether co-defendants can be tried together will decide much of the outcome before jurors ever hear opening statements. If any of the co-defendants agree to cooperate, Durk's defense will face the uphill task of discrediting them on the stand. Public reaction remains divided. Some see a government crackdown fueled by media optics. Others believe the charges expose the dark undercurrent of real-world violence behind the music. Whatever side you're on, one truth stands out. This case is a defining test of accountability, image, and influence in modern rap culture. And that's why you need to stay tuned. Every motion, every leak, every new document shifts the story. If you care about truth over rumor, hit that subscribe button right now. Join a community that follows facts, not just headlines. Drop a like if you believe artists deserve fair trials, and share this with someone who still believes music should never be judged in a courtroom. Because when this trial finally begins, the verdict won't just decide one man's fate. It'll send a message through the entire industry about where the line between art and crime really lies. Stay locked in. The next chapter of the Lil Durk case could change everything.